Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is just going to be quick on this tank. These, I don't know if I fed them too much. They just don't like to play good with the camera. They grab the food and run off. But I wanted to show you, they had their offspring, they had their shrimplets. Baby's growing in here nice. They're all over the place, real nice. I'm trying that. I don't know why, but it was given to me. I thought I'd give it a try. I gotta put more stuff in it though. It's actually my fern stuff over here, my mini fistin stuff. And then look at that, I got that. Just put it, I stuck it on the wood a long time ago, and now it's growing all over the wood. I never tied it down, nothing, I just sat it there and just let the weight of it hold it there. But yeah, this is a tank from before the 70s. If you can see, it's chrome. It's a chrome frame. It's a 15 gallon tank. It has a slate bottom. And it's kind of like we want it for like the first tank that people see when they come in, but right now it's off to the side because I'm not done yet. But the wood that's in here I thought was so cool. It looked like a skull to I don't know, just a large animal or something. I was like, wow, this thing looks neat. So without all the stuff growing in here, I mean, it was just super, super cool. I got it for a great price because my buddy worked at the store. I have Boost and the Mossimo balls but yeah, they do really good in here. They were slow taking off for me. When I first got these guys, I bought a pregnant female, a buried female, and like 4 others. Because I didn't have the money at the time to buy a whole colony of these because they're expensive or more expensive. So you can see one way down there in the substrate hiding. So, I went the cheap way and it took me longer, but, now I have a colony. So I paid more for a pregnant female. And, like 3 or like 4, I think it was like 5 or 6 altogether I bought. And now this is what I have. And they just, like I said, they just had shrimplets again. For the second time since I owned them. So the buried mama had that I paid for, she had her shrimplets. And now those all grew up and someone had babies. I don't know who, but someone had babies. So, but anyways, they're not, I don't know, they're not touching that pad. So if they don't eat that food, I'll come back and get rid of it. Over here's, see, I started, my numbers are getting larger in my tank, so, instead of, I didn't feed the tanks today, because, I've been I'm like not paying attention, I'm feeding a lot, but, so anyways, we'll look at some blue bolts I've fed. Try my new phone shelf that I'm building here for videoing now. Trying it out to see how it works. Seems to be doing really good. This is just my my plain blue bolt tank. There's some really nice shrimp in here. Me, I think every shrimp is nice no matter what. But what people would consider a higher grade, you have your basic A grade There's no triple S. Those are in the other tank, but in here, you know, you got, I would say at least up to an S grade. So A through S grade on this tank. And still a lot of them are young yet, you know, so their blues will fill out more. They'll get darker. Because that's one thing with blue bolts that I find is they change. I mean, a lot of shrimp do. But like a pinto, you know, he'll look a certain way when he's a baby, and he'll probably look that exact same way when he gets older. So, you know, there's not a huge margin for change there. But like these guys, the blue changes. So, you know, they can lose their blue. They can gain blue if they don't like the water, the temperature, if they don't like you know, the GH in it, anything, any of the parameters, it can irritate their color, you know, because we all know that shrimp get stressed, but some stress differently than others, you know, and it could be with color. So one day a shrimp could look a light blue, and then, you know, a week later it could be, you know, look like it's a really good high grade, you know. So that's the tricky part when it comes to blue dreams. This tank has a lot of blue dreams, and they took all the stinking food. So I'll pick the camera up. It looks like that's what I'm gonna have to do it with all. Oh, I'll move it down one. So, but we'll look at this for a minute. So yeah, what they did is they stole all the food. Look at they took it everywhere, and they're like fighting under the wood and the leaf behind it. So it's like, you know. So see, like that one in the middle, that's a nice one. They're all nice. Like I said, they're all nice, but some are darker in the tail than others. You know, some are like whitish, I don't know. And then some like have like crowns on them, and it's really neat, the different styles and designs you can get from blue bolts. But they're one of my favorites. I mean, blue's not my favorite color, but it still looks super, super pretty. I mean, I like, see, it depends. I mean, I like a blue bolt over a pinto, but you can't beat a spotted face pinto. I mean, you just can't. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard, man. It's really hard to, you know, choose one, you know, because people ask me, they'll comment and say, hey, what's your favorite shrimp? And I'm like, poof, really? That's the question you got for me? Don't do that to me. You know, it's too stressful. Because it's like, I'm sorry about this. This macro lens on here is for wide angle. You see, so you go down like that, and but it seems to be the outer. I don't know if you'll see it in the video, but the outer edges are blurry because I'm coming at an angle. I'm shooting down at an angle, so I don't know. And see, if I pull back, it's still on my end. It looks a little blurry. All right, you guys want to see some shrimp action? Some straight up killers eating like they've never eaten before. I mean, I'm not going to show you guys my new shelving system that I'm trying to come out with. So we'll just set it up down here, because I'm going to try to bring it to everybody. So maybe we can start making it or something. But all right, here we go. And then people can, you know, purchase it to make their own videos. I hope this isn't going to be too close. There we go. Some yellow Neocaridina going to town. Now that's a lot of shrimp. And the funny thing is I got more than that. I mean, the whole back of the tank is a big, huge pile too. So, in the Blue Bolt tank that I just showed you, I have, like, I know one of the mosses is Java moss. I got some cholla wood, Indian almond leaves, the other moss I have, don't know the name of it, I'm really sorry. I really got to get better at that stuff, but, and then I have the black humate soil that I use, that I like a lot. I mean, it's kind of expensive, but I still get a good deal on it through my friend at a store. I don't know, a piece of wood, I'm not sure on the wood, but it's more for aesthetics than it is for, I mean, they don't really feed on it because they're so, I provide so much moss, so they can eat all the bacteria and stuff and, you know, whatnot. Try to make it, you know, as natural, like they're in their own environment in a stream. At TDS, I keep them at all my tanks at 125, right in there. You know, if it goes 128, 125, you know, I try to keep all the water somewhere in there. That seems to work really good, because then I only have to make my water one way. But like every once in a while, I change the numbers. I try not to keep it exact, because in the wild, the TDS won't be exact. So for a while, I'll run 130. And then I'll start dropping it down, you know, to 128, 125, stuff like that. You know, it helps change it up, so, you know, it's not the same thing every day, and you know, it seems more natural that it's changing than it being the same thing every day, and, you know, it not seeming like they're in the wild. So, yeah, every once in a while we'll change it, but like I said, it's really slow. You do it real slow. So not to, you know, hurt them or shock them or anything like that. And it seems to work really good. They like it. They respond well to it. They don't freak out. Nothing like that. Now hold on, guys. I gotta change Luke's TV to video games. What? I never. Oh, you gotta switch it over. Where's the remote? Oh, here. What's this one? Hit source. Alright, everybody. I'm back. Luke came down to play some video games, and he needed the HDMI input changed over because he was playing his Nintendo Switch, and now he's playing this PlayStation. So yeah, and it's like I said, you know, so if yeah, so always my water is always between 120 and 130. It just depends on what cycle I'm on, you know what I mean? So with the Neocaridina, sorry, I'm again doing stuff while I'm videoing, trying to, you know, do more than one thing at a time. Because I'm pretty busy. So the Neocaridina that you're looking at, I have like, yeah, I guess it's not bad. He's just a little yellower. There's nothing I can do. I'm in the orange Sakura tank, and one of the shrimp was a little on the lighter side. It had it's got a real bright backline on it. But, yeah, I usually call while I'm making a video. So, but, so the tank you're looking at now, my yellows, they are, I just put them in, I put them in my, I put them in the wastewater from my RO system. And that's about a 180, 175 to 180 TDS coming out of there. Because, you know, a lot of, I mean, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but like the pet store, you go up to a pet store, they run the wastewater right down the drain, throw it away. I'm like, are you guys crazy or what? Why would you do that? And so, you know, I use it for my cichlid tank. I use it for everything, you know, except the, or no, I use it for, yeah, the Neos, my cichlid tank. I just don't use it for the Caridinas. But, darn it. But, so yeah, in there I just have regular black gravel, Indian almond leaves, moss, again, I don't know the name of it. I don't know the name of the wood. I had the Mossimo ball. It got busted up a while back, but I still keep it in there. I don't get rid of it because they seem to like it quite a bit. Yeah, so Indian almond leaves. Oh, I have a spare sponge in there. I keep in there, you know, in case I need it, another tank. You know, which everyone should always do. I mean, there's people that are selling dirty sponges, just for that purpose, so you don't have to always wait so long to Luke saying Indian almond leaves. You don't have to wait so long to get a tank set so you can put fish in it, you know. So it's like, well, if I could, you know, if you're doing fish, it's really quick. If you're doing shrimp, it's pretty darn quick. You can do a shrimp tank, in my opinion, you could do a shrimp tank in probably 24 hours. A Neocaridina tank, a Neo tank. If you have a dirty sponge, Yeah, you could do a Neo tank in 24 hours. Yeah, I would have to say 24 hours, no problem. But you gotta have your sponge. You know, you gotta be. I mean, you could take it out of a fish tank. You know, anything with that bacteria, the beneficial bacteria that's already built up. That's the whole thing. You take it from one tank to another, phew, you're good to go. You don't have to wait. Now with the Caridina, I mean, if you don't have a bacteria, a live bacteria to add, like I do, I mean, it's good if you go a couple months. I mean, now people, well, put it this way. Let me not give a time limit on that. I mean, if you want my opinion, the best thing to do is wait until your tank is cycled. What other people say and have proven is, you know, that you don't. And what I've learned by that is they say that if you have a tank, let me see, hold on, I'm just moving the top really quick. If you have a, let's say you have, let's say you have a shrimp and say you have a Caridina and you want to start another Caridina tank of the same species, or I mean the same type, because, you know, some are different. They're not that big of a difference, but tigers to bees, stuff like that. So they say if you have a tank and the new tank has the same substrate, it's the same TDS, if everything's the same, that you could take the shrimp and the temperature, you take the shrimp out of one tank, put them in the other tank, and they will be just fine, nothing will die. That's what some people claim. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. You know, I'm not claiming that. I'm not saying that that's true. So, the fact of the matter is that's what, you know, some people claim. Some people say it's true. Other people say that to have Caridina, you need to wait, you know, 2-3 months. Me, what I say is, what I've done is, if I would squeeze a whole crap ton of bacteria into a tank, let it sit for, you know, a week, and then put my shrimp in, I usually did pretty well. You know, everything would turn out really good because that bacteria would take care of everything. You know, now here's the thing. If you put, all right, I'm done doing what I was doing, so I'll be able to pay attention more now. If you put, I don't know what to say this. If you put bacteria in, try to put in as much as possible. Here's the reason. Where you may suffer is there's no bacteria built up in the tank, within the substrate, within on the glass, you know, on anything you have in the tank, anything. So the shrimp could suffer due to the fact that they're in a tank that has no growing beneficial bacteria. So that's why when you put the bacteria in the tank, you want to put as much as possible so it'll start growing in the tank. You know, because if you just put a little bit, you know, are the chances of it growing good? Possibly. Are the chances of it to stay growing, to be able to sustain itself? I don't know. Again, I'm not a scientist. So what I do is I put as much as in as I can. I take moss out of tanks that are, you know, doing really good and sustained. Take a big chunk of that out, throw it in there, because now your moss is covered with bacteria. So all this stuff that you're putting into the tank is covered with bacteria. So that'll help, because the thing is the shrimp are going to go to eat, and if there's nothing for them to eat except what you're putting in there to feed them, they could suffer, because shrimp do not always, you know, they don't want to eat your food 24/7. They want to eat bacteria. They want to eat biofilm. You know, they want to eat all sorts of stuff. They don't want, you know, mashed potatoes every day. You know, so when they go to forage in the substrate and stuff and there's nothing there, they could starve. So you always have to remember to be able to add as much stuff with bacteria as possible, so your shrimp will have every chance available to them to grow and, you know, reproduce, to live their whole life instead of just a short month or two, you know. And that's where people fail at times, because like pet stores and even people who sell shrimp don't tell you, hey, you know, this is what you should have if you want to succeed. These are some things that you should have to help you, you know, because a lot of people go to the store and just buy a tank and think, well, hey, I'm going to throw, you know, I'm going to order, sorry, I seen a off yellow shrimp in here, so I took them out. They're going to say, oh, hey, Petco's having $1 per gallon sale. This sounds really cool. I'm going to go get one. Or they get caught up buying one of those sets, the Aqueon sets at the store, and they're like, ooh, look at this deal. I can get a bunch of stuff, put a whole bunch of stuff in here, and I'll succeed. And when they don't succeed, they get discouraged, and then the discouragement causes them to want to quit. And that's the problem, is if they knew just to keep bacteria in the tank, then they wouldn't have failed. You know, like I keep those biostones that you put in like a canister filter. I have probably 8 or 10 bags of that, and I keep them in my 120 in the filter, in the hang-on back filter. And if I do a tank, like I have 2 10-gallons right now that are set up for Caridina, that have the bacteria and everything, but I have 3 other tanks that I set up and left the lights on for 5 days straight, and now I have really expensive, I have dragon bloods in it, blue dragon blood, or dragon blood blues, whatever you want to say. I mean, I got expensive shrimps in these, and I put those bags, those bacteria bags with those stones in there to add more. And the minute you put it in, gosh, the shrimp go to those bags and just start eating all over, you know, the bacteria that's on them, because they like to eat bacteria. They like to eat biofilm. So, you know, that's another way to have your tank survive and last and live, you know, through the beginning months when you first set up. You put stability in a tank, you know, to create bacteria, you know, but the best way, in my opinion, is natural, right out of a tank. So you should, you know, get your stuff from a pet store. Tell them, hey, look, you know, I'm going to buy all this stuff, but can you give me, you know, bacteria right out of your tank? A lot of people don't know you can do that. Pet store will give it to you all day because you're buying their product. So all they do is they go take a sponge filter out of a tank and they squeeze it in a bag full of water, or they put it in a bucket, squeeze all the gook out, pour it in a bag, and you bring it home and just dump it right in your tank. Wait 24 to 48 hours, let your filters run, let your filters suck up all that gunk, put them right in, you're ready to go. You know, but without that gunk, you know, you're not gonna, it's not gonna survive. You know, there's a good chance that you're gonna lose a lot of your colony, if not all. You know, and then that's all you need. Shrimp dying and shrimp eating shrimp. You know, it's just it doesn't make for good health in the tank. So that's like some of your, you know, basics. But that's the thing, is the basics people don't want to tell you. Because, you know, I don't care what anybody says. They say a good breeder, someone that sells shrimp, should tell you the parameters of the water. You sure? Yeah. But look at their pages that they're selling, or go to the store, it'll say like 120 to 150 for a TDS. It's like, what? Is it 120 or is it 150? You know, where do you keep it at? No one wants to give you the magic numbers. Because, you know, they'll say, well, I work so hard to breed these. I do all this. I don't want to give it away. But then when you see these videos and everybody's like, oh, yeah, I'll tell you exactly what they are because I want you to succeed. Yeah? Well, then you look at their stuff and it'll say the same thing. 120 and 150. It doesn't say, you know, my tank, or our tanks, we keep them at 130. Do a water change, you know, at 140 or 135. You know, they don't say that our RO water that we mix. I mean, I know one guy that does. He's got a really big channel. And he'll say, we mix our RO water, like, let's say at 120. So he does say that, you know. So that's what he puts it in at. And he's telling you, hey, look, all of my RO water is 120 TDS. So I don't need to tell you what else is in the water, because it's just make your RO water 120 and it'll be exactly the same as ours. And so you don't ever have to worry about, you know, them going from one tank to the other. Because if you ask me, hey, Detroit, what's your TDS at? And, you know, we're running at 125. I'll say 125, and that's all you need to know. It's all you need to do is put your RO at 125, and your water will be close to almost exactly the same. I mean, if it's RO, it should come out, like my RO comes out of my membranes at 2 or 1. That means my filters are still really good. They're still cleaning almost 100%. They're clean 98, 99%, you know, but it's been like 2 ever since I put the system in. So if, you know, that's another thing. If your system's producing 2 or under, then we're going to be almost exact. Then, you know, it'd be like, hey, what's your temperatures at? Okay, I'll give you my temperatures, you know, because I don't use heaters. Used to. I used to be one of those hobbyists that would put a heater in every single tank and spent a ton of money and wasted it and threw it out the window. And, you know, then you know, do more homework on, you know, what you keep and stuff, and you realize that, you know, they can sustain 60 degrees, and the cool thing about it is it slows them up. So when they slow up, that means that their life cycle is going to slow down. so you don't have to worry about, having your shrimp and they're, you're burning through them, and, every year you're having, loss because, your heaters have been pumping out 80 degrees and they're dying early, they're not getting their full lifespan because you've had them in overdrive, all winter and everything. So, yeah, not on any tank do I have a heater. So what I do is I run 2 dehumidifiers, and sometimes I'll run a fan just to circulate the whole basement. But it's like the bottom tanks are 66 and the top tanks are like 70 or 65, 70. So there's like a 4-degree difference between top and bottom. But, for right now, everything's on the concrete floor and my concrete block walls, but my basement's not cold. I run the heat down here, like when I'm heating the upstairs, it blows down here. And we sit down here all day long with no towels or no blankets on or nothing. So it's a good 70, 72 down here. So, the tanks, they stay at a good temp. So if you could do that, you don't need heaters. Have your bacteria built up. Have good water flow. You don't want it to be stagnant, but you don't want it to be too much. I've come to notice, and it depends on the shrimp too. Depends on the size of the tank, and it depends on the shrimp. A 10-gallon, not a lot of flow. A 15 to a 20 long, you can add the more flow, and they like it because, it's a long tank and you need to get the movement down to the other end, just to have the water moving around so it's not stagnant. All my water moves good until it starts to dehydrate, and then the water drops down instead of shoving it across the top of the water, from my sponge filters. So now the water's blowing out and going down instead of across the top of the tank. So that's when I come in and start doing my top offs, and then it starts blowing the air bubbles and the water pressure across the top of the tank to the other side, which in turn starts to circulate the tank, more or less. So, but yeah, when it comes to Neocaridina, I don't know why I say but yeah, I always sit here and go, why does everybody say that? I started saying it, so I've stopped saying it, because it means nothing. But so if those are the things that you do, if you have good flow, good bacteria, do not overfeed, because the shrimp like to eat the algae, the bacteria, all the natural things within the water, within the tank. If you have that built up well, then you don't have to feed them much. But if you're lacking that within your tank, due to the fact that you have, let's say, 200 shrimp